This is a really cool one. How long does it normally take to submit a sitemap to Google? And the answer is it really depends on what you know. So for instance, you might go to google.com/webmasters. Whoops, I should spell it right. And then you can log in, and then you can go through the act of adding access to your website, and then go through the act of uploading your first sitemap file and letting Google go through it. Now that's useful, that's true. But what's a quicker way if all you're trying to do is get Google to realize that you made changes to your web pages? Okay, there is a quicker way. You would ping the sitemaps. Now, most people don't necessarily know how you do it, other than if you do a search on Google, it's like ping my sitemap, and you do a search for ping, and it'll give you some kind of page somewhere, Google usually will, and it'll make you log in, that says, upload your list here. Now, that's the next step. But let's say you want to go even further. Like we have these 96 websites. We just got done making a bunch of changes to them, and it's time for us to let Google know about it. Now, the reality check is when you create the sitemaps, it goes ahead and alerts Google, Bing, and Yahoo anyway. But sometimes people might come in and make changes, or you'll just feel like it's been a while and you want to go ahead and refresh that. Make sure Google just is aware of the latest sitemaps that you've put up. And so what would you do? Ping the sitemaps. And when you do that, simply going to ask, choose a file. It's going to submit the sitemap to Google, Bing, and Yahoo. And what does that do? First of all, I'll point it out. Here's one of the websites. And if we go to the bottom, there's the sitemap link. And if we go here, this is a human readable sitemap. It's a sitemap.html. It's meant for humans. But there's the version called sitemap.xml that was also auto-generated immediately. That's built off the exact same links, okay? But it's built exactly for submitting these to Google, okay? So the way this is done very nicely is like this. We're gonna submit a sitemap. Let's just see what the file looks like. That's it. The list of your domain names. That's it. So here we go. We're just going to submit it and hit go. And before we do it, we could run the network action. I want to submit it. Reality check is this is fast because this is the kind of thing that Google makes available to big players. Big companies have access to this kind of action and they usually use it. One way or another, they've incorporated APIs for most of their clients to be able to do this sort of thing automatically, even daily. Okay, so if you're making changes to websites as often as daily, and you just want to go ahead and alert Google to that, kind of train Google on the idea that you are pretty consistently busy with your websites these days, then this is simply the way you would do it. And Google starts to catch on. The frequency with which Google comes to your website is based on how often it sees that you're making changes to things. And so the best way to work with that is to just start submitting sitemaps here and there, letting Google know that you are making changes to things at this speed. Now, reality check is there's really no reason to submit a sitemap more than once in case you're afraid that somehow the connection didn't get through. Maybe not. Lots of people submit sitemaps at the exact same time to Google. It took about a minute, 1.1 minutes. Okay. So instead of doing it manually, one at a time, right? Submitting each one at a time through Webmasters, we just submitted all of them. Now, again, don't resubmit it frequently if you're not making changes to it because it's just a waste of time. It teaches Google that you're doing this often even when you're not making changes to the pages. But again, how hard is it to make a change to the pages? You remember what we did? var sheet uploader, right? And we uploaded the var sheets. Well, once you add the var sheet you wanted, if you're not going to change the var sheet, okay, you don't need to re-add it. Just simply hit the process button so you can import the process file. Where was that? Here. Right there. just to refresh, processing means in this case, create the pages in the sitemap, right? This ought to be 100, just as a standard, right? Until I do something with it, kind of keeping them all, I'm keeping them all uniform for the purpose of the demo. But obviously when you're doing projects for different people, if this guy's paying $1 a page, okay, that's 100 pages, but then this guy might pay 250, and so you'll do something like this, right? I mean, literally, who knows what you think to do with these, or you just want to erase footprints with Google, well, then do something like this. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so that you can do something like this. Look at that. None of the page submissions are the same number of pages. I mean, there's all kinds of things you could do. I could go, let's say, 62, and then I might say something like 67, or let's say 65. That would be a difference of 3. Then if I highlight 62 and 65 and drag it down, it'll just keep jumping every 3. If at some point I want it to be every 4, then I'll just do something to make that happen. Like I'll go from 101 to 105 is a difference of 4 and drag that down for a while. Then if I want to go backwards, I could do that. Instead of 158 to 161, I might take it down to 155. Okay, that's 3 down. So then I'll drag that and keep going back down a bit. Can you do this? You could, sure. You can. Then just keep track of your top number or something. And the next time you run your sitemaps, just do some math that adds 5 to these numbers, right? And then you can replace the numbers. You know, just an extremely easy way to understand that would be like this. Control-C. Watch this. I'm going to have this column. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I'll just do it this way. This column equals that plus, who knows, 5 more rows. Now, I'm just going to take that down, and it's going to simply go on that math all the way. It's going to take whatever the number was and add 5, right? And I might even stop early, but who knows? So there you go. Okay, so then I'll just take this, copy it, and I'm just going to paste as text. There you go. Delete. So then my next run, see, is ready for running already. I can do it anytime I want. Again, how long does it take to drag and drop that process file? I just drag and drop it, hit import, and walk away. I'm done with my work. And yet I've updated the websites for 2 weeks before I care really to come in here and do it again unless I'm intentionally adding to the websites. That's my maintenance level work, and that's all it takes. Whether I have 100 websites or 10,000. Doesn't matter, it's all the same. All right, hope you found that interesting. Do you get the point of how much you can automate and therefore how well you can compete with the biggest industry leaders who do this using people at high expense? And you're doing this automatically without the expense. It's pretty amazing. All right.